two boys walk along a path hidden behind the trees, leaving behind footprints in the rocky dirt when they stumble upon the remnants of an abandoned campsite. Each boy looks around, taking in the scenery. One boy reaches down, lifting the lid of the light green cooler to see the water remnants of the now melted ice soaking the entirety of several warm beer cans. 3 tents all remain close by, 2 of which have things that only single males would keep for company, while the third had not only a pair of clothes fit for a female, but for a male as well.
"This must have been what Scott and Charlie were talking about,"
one boy says. "I don't know, Colby. Scott and Charlie seem weird lately." The other boy shakes his head.
"Weird?"
The other boy scoffs.
"I think weird doesn't even begin to describe those two, Caleb. I think something bad happened out here, and they just aren't telling anybody about it." "What could have possibly have happened?"
Colby trails off. His eyes widen upon looking at the ground. He notices droplets of red liquid, long since dried. He leans down, placing the index finger of his left hand atop the old, sampled leaf, and swipes his finger in a downward motion. He rubs the finger with his thumb as if to make certain that, yes, the liquid has been dried for quite some time. Weren't Scott and Charlie supposed to be going camping with Dodd and Sam a few months ago?" Caleb questions.
"That's precisely my point, man. Scott and Charlie came back from a camping trip that they were supposed to be on with their friends, but only they came back, and no one has heard from Dodd or Sam since,"
Scott said. "I know what the fuck Scott said, but I'm telling you, something isn't right with this situation, and I intend to find out what happened," Caleb states confidently. The boy's mouth slams shut upon hearing the sound of twigs snapping in the distance. They both turn in separate directions due to the sound seemingly coming from all around them. A faint whispering can be heard, calling out to the boys.
"Caleb,"
a woman's voice sensually says. "Who's there?" Caleb shouts.
"What the fuck are you doing?"
Colby hisses.
"Anyone could be out here listening."
"Did you hear that?"
"Hear what?"
"A girl, or someone said my name."
"I didn't hear anything, man."
Colby shakes his head. The sound of rustling nearby causes the two boys to look at each other with wide eyes before they grab a hold of each other and begin to run back down the dirt path now covered with fresh crimson liquid. The boys are stopped mid-run upon a misty, black figure manifesting itself in front of them. The figure slowly transforms into a young man, one looking to be around their age, one that they immediately recognize. Sam.
"Wow, you guys look like shit."
Sam chuckles. "Jesus Christ, Sam!" Caleb heavily sighs. "You almost gave us a fucking heart attack."
"It wasn't for lack of trying. I'd say you're almost there considering you two are bleeding. Quite badly, it would seem."
Sam shrugs. Caleb and Colby look at each other, both exchanging a look of confusion before the realization sinks in. They reach up to feel the space just below their nose. Their fingers are covered with red liquid when they pull their hand back to look. Sam shakes his head as a daring smirk spreads across his lips. He places one hand on the boy's shoulders and pulls them closer. The feel of his icy hand sends a rough shock through Caleb and Colby, stunning both of them.
"It's been great to catch up with both of you. However, I'm afraid that our time has to be cut short due to my insatiable hunger,"
Sam sadistically says. Several loud banging noises sound before Sam disappears into thin air. Nothing but the remnants of black smoke left behind as Colby and Caleb fall to the forest floor. They glance up to see a young girl and boy staring down at them with some kind of weapons in hand. Who the hell are you and what the fuck was that thing?" Caleb asked in shock and confusion.
"Never mind that. What was that thing and what are you doing here?"
the boy asked in return.
"I'm Colby, and this is Caleb. We came here looking for our friends. Something's not right. That was Sam, or at least whatever it was, it looked like him,"
Colby elaborated.
"Who's Sam?"
the girl asked him. He came out here camping with some friends. He and another kid never came back. But that was him. What the hell was that? Who are you? Caleb asked again in a panic.
I'm Kane and that's Donna. We're with the Park Service.
The boy told them.
Since when did Park Service carry firearms?
Colby asked them, staring at the guns in their hands.
And aren't you two a little young? And you look like you're related.
Colby prodded.
Nope. Hutter and Kimball, respectively.
The girl, Dana, told him.
And it's new protocol. Lots of bears in the area.
She finished. And she was obviously lying. But before they had time to ask any more questions, the slime and dark debris that had fallen to the ground was beginning to reform.
We need to go. Now!
Dana yelled to the two boys. Caleb and Colby didn't blink an eye and moved to the pair's side in an instant.
Wait, my journal!
Colby exclaimed, turning and running back for the small book that he had lost, documenting all the odd instances in the area. Kane and Dana were a few feet ahead of the group, and by the time they had turned around, it was too late. The dark chunks and black smoke had now reformed into a solid humanoid mass, blocking their path. Kane and Dana raised their firearms, but couldn't get a clear shot, as the thing now held Colby in its grip, holding him 2 or more feet in the air. The boy kicked and struggled, but it was of no use. Caleb began to sprint to his friend's aid, but was quickly halted by the pair that had come to save him. And in that next instant, Colby was torn in half. Caleb was too stunned to hear them or follow their instructions. He only moved with them, absconding from the horror before him, as they pulled on his arm, running further back down the trail and away from the demented creature, now looking in their direction. What the fuck? Why is Sam? Caleb was cut off.
That's not your friend anymore.
Dana told him. Then what? How do we stop it? Caleb asked, looking for the correct words.
Where did they go, your friends?
Kane asked. You mean camping? Right over there. Caleb pointed in the direction of the abandoned tents. Without a word, the group made haste towards this area, but stopped on the way there in the middle of the road.
It's here.
What's here? Caleb asked. Kane explained how the thing was made of black goop and smoke, like blood. And here, on the path they walked, was a large puddle of it. It was near to the abandoned tent site, within eyeshot. Whatever he was looking for, Kane had found it. Caleb tried to ask more questions, but had no time. Without warning, he was grabbed from around the throat from behind. Dana jumped forward and attempted to wrestle the figure's grip loose, to no avail. Caleb choked as the demonic visage of his friend squeezed tighter. As if he knew exactly what he was doing, Kane bent down and scooped up a small bit of dirt in his hands before tossing it at the trio. The creature hissed as it touched, and released its grip on Colby. Dana used the opportunity to both plunge a large knife into the thing's chest and topple it over at the same time. The blade up to its hilt in necrotic meat, the tip impaled clean through and digging into the dirt beneath it. The thing howled and hissed, as if desperately trying to flee to stand up, but after a few moments of squealing and frantic flails of movement, the thing went still and slowly began to dissolve into nothingness. What the fuck? How did you... Caleb began.
He was a remnant. They have to be staked into place where they died.
Kane elaborated, helping Caleb to his feet and leading him back to the main lot, where they had all parked. Remnant? So, Park Service, huh? Caleb asked rhetorically.
I'm telling you, those bears can be a killer.
Dana said with a smile. Once they had reached the lot, Dana and Kane, noticing something Caleb didn't, they told them that he couldn't tell anyone what had happened here, that no one would believe him, and that it would be best for everyone involved if he never came back to this place, assuring him that they would take care of any loose ends. Caleb hesitantly agreed, thanked them both for saving his life, and left. Once gone from sight, Dana and Kane returned their focus to the oddity that they had noticed and purposefully left unmentioned. It was an old truck that had not been there when they pulled in. As they approached it, they not only saw a woman behind the driver's seat, they recognized her.
Sorry I'm late. You two okay? How did it go?
she asked them.
We lost one. He went back to get a journal and we didn't see, and...
Kane began, almost sobbing.
Listen, you did everything you could. That's one of the hardest things about this job. Losing people under your protection. It's not your fault he didn't listen to you, and you can't save everyone.
She finished.
But we can try.
Dana said. The trio agreed that they had done all they could here for now, assured that they had stopped the monstrosity stalking the land, and pulled from the lot, vowing to come back should evil rear its ugly head again. They would be long gone by the following morning, when Lawson Lake was once again covered in a thick fog, the water placid and natural, aside from the necrotic, blackened hand that raised itself from beneath the water's surface, leading back to the submerged, sinister-looking, menacing sneer on Sam's eager face.